All right, so we'll call to order at 7:06. I'll stand for pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
the roll call.
Ms. Chaparro, absent. Ms. Garabay,
Present.
Mr. Hawk,
Present.
Ms. Jacobs Rohan,
Here.
Mr. Paris,
Present.
Mr. Pagoda,
Here.
Ms. Schutz,
Here.
Ms. Siri,
Here.
Ms. Wilton.
Here. Okay, so we'll start with a motion to approve the past meeting minutes. Is that a motion?
Paris, so moved.
Just second.
Yes, I'll
You're gonna have to tell me who that is.
Shucks. Karen.
Thank you.
Yep, get ready.
All right, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. Motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Paris. so
Siri,
moved.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Sorry, I don't understand.
British participant. Okay.
All right, do I need to read
You said as presented.
as presented? Okay. Any discussion on any of those items? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. Okay, welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay at home there, and everybody's staying healthy at home, whoever's watching us from home. So, we'll just move into our motions here. We have our first hearing of citizens. Time is designated for the agenda topics only. If you'd like to speak, please sign in, come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Please keep in mind that the board does not typically respond to public comment, but rather takes the hearing into consideration for future governance. Also, please realize that all comments and meetings are recorded. Nope. All right, no citizens. All right, so we'll move on to finance first. Brian, did you want to speak? No?
I'm having trouble getting it to load. Give me a,
Okay, I can do
you
it.
start the first one.
All right, I'll read it. Okay, motion 5A, motion to approve the following change orders and/or invoices in conjunction with the Riverview Capital Improvement Project. 1, capital expense for the junior senior high school HVAC work by Oz for a total of $25,000. 2, capital expense for Verner Elementary HVAC work by Oz for a total of $34,500. Do I have a motion?
Paris, so moved.
Schutz, second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. Motion 5B, motion to approve the following contracts agreements subject to final review and approval of the solicitor. 1, affiliation agreement with IUP Indiana University of Pennsylvania for a 5-year agreement beginning February 2025 through February 2030. Do I have a motion?
Paris, so moved.
Pagoda, second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. Okay.
Thanks, Wendy. It loaded now.
Nice timing. All right, we don't have anything for student life, so education.
1 minute. Prepared to be up so soon. I'll do my best. Sorry if my voice cuts out. Motion to approve education items as presented. Professional development for Jason Leibel to attend the Music for All National Festival in Indianapolis, Indiana, from March 13th through 16th, 2025. No cost to the district. May I have a motion?
Paris, so moved.
I'll make that motion. Second, Pagoda.
Any discussion?
Who's the first and second there?
I think Antonio first. Roger.
PPRP.
Yeah.
Got it.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Thank you. Great. So, motion for approval.
Just getting my lines.
Sorry. I guess for board governance, for the board policies listed. Are there any of these that we want to pull out separately?
Can I make a motion to read as present, or to say as presented?
Yes, and I will second that.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? No, so do we have the motion to,
You're good, as long as there's, and then now you just have to ask for a motion for the
okay.
Board of Governance.
Okay, so may I have a motion for Board of Governance policies as listed?
I'll make that motion. Pagoda.
Paris,
Second.
Schultz.
Give it up for them.
Yeah.
I'll have to give it to
What was
Schultz.
that?
Mr. Pagoda and Ms. Schutz.
RPES.
Okay. Any discussion on any of these? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Or, yeah, opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it.
Look at that.
Wow.
Look at all those.
There's I will say that I think that there are a couple in the first one that probably have to get moved, but they're just on first and second reading, so we're okay. I just thought about it now.
Wait.
We edited a couple
They were edited,
at our last meeting.
but those were in between study session and voting session.
So they have to go back to study session as first.
No, because they were only brought to the attention that they were being voted on.
Right, but we count our readings as study session and voting session of the same month. So, do you know what I mean? So it has to
Session,
reset.
discussion, voting.
I thought
First
that was the
reading.
whole point of why we edited in between the speech, so, because they were able to stay within the first reading. Because,
Doesn't that
Did
just
did
go to
it stay under
second
the
reading?
first reading, which is the point anyway, right? They're still first reading.
they're still first reading.
So I
But
think-
they were changed between the study session and the voting.
But it's still first reading.
Correct.
You didn't put the ones that were edited under second reading.
Nope.
Okay, so I think it still satisfies what you're saying.
But they will be presented as second reading next month. And
Correct.
we require a first reading to be both study session and voting meeting. And if they were changed in between that study session and voting meeting, then they should revert back to the first reading.
Right, but I think that's
For our
what she's
next
saying.
study session
She,
meeting.
she didn't do it for the reason that you're saying, but I think they stayed under first reading.
They did, but I have a question though, because I know that came up
Yeah,
probably a year or so ago, but I
Yes.
thought as a board, we decided that we were not doing consecutive meetings. I thought we were doing it as 1 month was a first reading, the next month was a second reading, whereas we had the option to go first reading, study session, vote, you know what I mean? Like we were doing
Right.
it consecutive, but we chose not to.
agreed, but if it changes in its first, and if it changes within its first reading, it then stays on to its first reading that next month. So,
I guess the question is, does it have to be at both meetings? Because if it was changed after the study, edited after the study session, but it's still on here as first reading, and we voted it for its first reading, it will go to second reading now.
Do people have enough time, I guess is the question. Like,
Yeah.
we said we changed a couple.
But we had them, we were given them
Yeah.
to review them, so.
but the public wasn't given, like,
Well, the public doesn't.
They weren't at the meeting either again.
no, well, but they're allowed to be, right? Like, they're allowed to be, so that, the idea is that you have your first reading on the study session and on the voting meeting to allow for, like, comments at both times. And then that, both of those meetings together count as one full reading. So if it's changed substantively within a reading, it reverts back to its original reading. Therefore, we change things substantively to some of them last at our policy
Policy.
meeting.
At the policy meeting.
So they should revert to its first reading next month as well. Because substantive changes were made. And it's not counted as a full reading, you know what I mean? Because we had that issue before where we were like, can we do them at back-to-back meetings and not count them as a reading at study session and at voting
I
meeting?
mean, I'm remembering the final outcome the way Randy's describing it, so the actual reading is considered only at the voting meeting. At the work set or the study session, you're discussing it, but the actual first reading is tonight.
Right.
First reading next month will be.
But his point,
And that's what I remember.
That's what I remember.
but his point is if we change it after the study session, in case somebody wanted to discuss it in its form, in its first form at the study session, and a couple of them got changed, you know, they wouldn't have a chance to like discuss the ones that were changed. You know what I mean? Like say we change like.
When they discuss it tonight?
Well, they could discuss it tonight at the voting meeting. I guess they could discuss it. Yeah, there's discussion at the voting meeting, yeah. And we had enough time to take a look at it because we gave you guys a heads up. We were like, hey, a couple of these might change. We didn't make major changes, but a couple of them changed. But we gave people enough time and we gave them a heads up that they were going to change. So.
I'm sorry, what is the issue here?
So the discussion is, we had a policy meeting between the study session and the voting meeting, right?
Yeah.
So like in its original form, at the study session, people didn't get a chance, or the public didn't get a chance to talk about like the issues or the policies prior to us changing. We did change a couple. We let you guys know, right, that we were probably gonna change a couple and to look for those. So the board had enough time, but Antonio's saying, you know, the public didn't have a chance to discuss it, although we're discussing whether or not tonight's voting meeting, since it's on the agenda, the public still does have 2 chances to discuss those policies if they wanted to. Plus they have a second and third. They still, I guess, have a
But the
second
public
reading.
doesn't see
Well, so
the
if-
document anyway.
Right.
If
Or
I
the
may,
vote.
They should though, they have to see
Aren't they
them.
linked to your agenda?
They have to be seeing the policies. If they're not, then
we don't have anything that has any timeliness to it, save for the summer homework policy. I have absolutely no issues. Aaron, you're welcome to jump in here. I have no issues with pushing this to March, so that everybody can get a fair look at it. There's nothing on here that needs to be decided on right this evening.
But I'm also okay with the flip of that too, like, we just need to note it then in our meeting minutes so that we have record of it moving forward, so that we don't have this come up
But,
again.
you know,
Make a
to
note
your
that we
point,
changed, you know, between the
Right.
study session and
Yeah.
voting meeting, we changed language and
To
policy.
your point, like, there's not, the fact of the matter is we're still banging through these policies at a rate that's never been done before. So like, it's okay if this moves to March. Because there's no immediate timeliness to any of the policies that we're talking about.
Although the 300s that we did talk about were suggested changes from, we probably want to, you know, you're right. But if we
Oh,
can.
yeah, I mean, like, is there any one where it makes a huge difference if it's voted on in February or voted on in March?
No, probably not. It's just another month.
Yeah,
Well, should
That's
we,
okay.
were there,
they're
what,
still
how
getting
many were
done
there
way
that
more
you guys
quickly than they would have prior to the meeting.
Steph's hand was also up. Yeah, like 3 or 4.
Go ahead, Steph.
So like we could redo the, yeah.
We just hold those for.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Were
the
these
four, I gotta go back and look at.
provided,
Go ahead, Steph.
sorry, were these policies provided to the public in our last week's agenda? Are the policies provided to the public?
No, I've never been told that I was supposed to attach policies to public documentation of a board
And
document.
policy numbers, right?
Policy numbers are there, and they can go and review the ones that are currently in status.
Yeah.
But the ones with the edits,
Okay, so
I do
but
not
were those-
publish
were
until
those
after they've been
policies
approved.
put on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
agenda?
Yeah. But
We
the
should-
policies,
we
they're
should
new.
be, so that they can be reviewed by the public to comment on what the changes are. We used to, because I got accosted by someone a year and a half.
I'll be honest with you, I was not
No,
trained
but you're
that
fine,
way.
you're fine. No, I don't know that we did tell, so I'm like, I don't know
I wouldn't think that
when we
would.
were.
I mean, we have the discussion time to talk about the changes, I
Right.
guess.
But if we don't read the changes, then you don't know what in the policy is being changed. And if you remember, a former person who ran for one of our positions made it very well known that they didn't like one of our like language pieces when we were talking about,
Well,
Board
it might have published, edited.
Yes, part of the
the red lines.
process with the readings is not just for the board to provide comment, but also for the public to
Okay,
comment.
so I can put that those pieces onto public portion on board docs.
Yep.
Thank you.
Do you want to just then,
Just table this one.
yeah, maybe just do what Roger said, push the 300s.
So it'll stay at first reading in March.
Yeah. We just push the 300s
I'll make
to
that
March, right?
motion.
Yeah, we'll just push the 300s to March.
All 300s?
Yeah, all the
What's
300s.
the motion on the table right now?
Motion.
So, we
need a
approved,
motion.
Oh, we've already voted on it.
you
Yeah.
voted on it, so.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I move to reconsider the, board governance portion of the agenda. Someone second it.
I mean, technically, it should be the people that motioned and seconded it.
I was one of the ones that.
Antonio,
And they
can you
switched it to
explain that a
Roger.
little more?
Was that Roger?
What'd you say?
Antonio, can you explain that a little more?
I just said, I move to reconsider our vote for the board
Roger and
governance.
Aaron. Roger and Aaron.
Falco said that we have to go back to re-vote on it because we already voted on it. And does that mean should we make the 200s also the second reading still in March?
We'll just
If
move
that's the
they
case,
have
then
it.
we're tabling it.
we'll just table it till the next meeting.
Yeah.
So ask Roger and Aaron.
Roger and Aaron, since you voted on it, can you make a motion to table this board governance item to
I will make
March
this
month?
motion to table the 300 sections of the policy until.
Both sections.
And to
both sections.
reconsider. The motion to reconsider and to table.
I would like to make the motion to reconsider and to table all of the policies currently under review until next month.
That's it.
And Aaron,
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Aaron.
do we need a vote on that, or
Yes.
is that just?
Let's vote on that.
No, we do.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it.
There we go.
All right, till next month.
Okay.
Okay. All right, under personnel, motion 9A, motion for approval of personnel items as presented. 1, resignation of employee 8811 paraprofessional effective January 29th, 2025. 2, resignation of employee 9171 paraprofessional effective February 21st, 2025. 3, individuals with Precision HR Solutions, Inc. as substitutes for the 2024-2025 school year pending any certification requirements. A, Skylar Bisceglia, teacher. B, Ellen Thompson, teacher. C, Ben Galtman, teacher. D, Lynn Poropatich, secretary para. 4, unpaid leave according to the board policy 339 for the following paraprofessionals. A, employee ID 8482 due to medical reasons, 3 days. B, employee ID 8817 due to medical reasons, 4 days. 5, hiring of IUP Indiana University of Pennsylvania intern in the athletics department, Logan Shanty. Do I have a motion?
Harris, so moved.
Stephanie
Pagoda, second.
Stephanie. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. Motion 9B, motion for approval of personnel items as presented. 1, to accept the resignation of girls soccer head coach Sean Abraham. 2, to approve the following athletic coaches and volunteer coaches for the 2024-2025 school year, pending any clearance, certification, and/or health requirements. A, Sarah McGuire, junior high girls volleyball head coach. B, Jennifer Brenza, junior high girls volleyball assistant coach. C, Dominic Otto, volunteer coach football. D, Josh Sprakar, volunteer coach baseball club. 3, the 24-25 athletic event workers is detailed below, pending any clearance, certification, and/or health requirements. Tanasia Matthew, if I got that right. Do I have a motion?
Harris, so moved.
Pagoda, second.
Any discussion?
I see the letters of interest for the 2 volleyball coaches, but again, it would be helpful to have their resumes just so that like.
They're actually rehires from the fall. You've already seen them. They were our volleyball coaches in the fall for varsity.
Okay.
So they're just coming back for the spring. It's just that it wasn't a decision that was made prior.
Okay,
So, but I'm more than
Weren't
happy
they
to
all
send this to you
rookies?
if you want.
that makes sense.
Say
What did
that
you say,
again,
Roger?
Weren't they all returning in some capacity, as far as I saw?
For volleyball, yes.
Yeah, okay. Just checking, thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. Motion passes. All right. This is our second hearing of citizens, but we have no citizens, so. All right, so we'll go to committee reports. Finance Committee, we haven't met yet as a committee. The only thing coming up March 5th is we have our first public meeting scheduled, so it's on the agenda. And Sheila, I think, wanted to just give a quick little update. Also budget-wise.
I wanted to give the board a quick budget update. Governor Shapiro had his proposed budget, presented his proposed budget to the state of Pennsylvania last week. A quick 30,000 foot view of what was proposed. was 75 million increase in basic education funding and 40 million increase in special ed funding. Overall, the increases to BEF and SEF have been smaller than in past years. And that's noted also in the Act 1 index, which went down to 4% this year. I think that everyone in PASBO, the Pennsylvania Association of School Business Officials, was pretty surprised at the small amounts that the proposed budget gave schools like Riverview, like Springdale. Springdale's actually losing money. We have a minuscule increase of a little over $51,000. I also wanted to note that in January, we received a very small amount of charter school funding. With the law that went into effect in January, we received a little over $13,800 in charter school funding, which is more than what we've received since the charter school subsidy went away many years ago. I do want to note and let the board know that we've seen a sharp increase in assessment appeals this year. We normally budget, and I think I spoke of this in my last budget presentation with assessment appeals and the CLR in Allegheny County, the common level ratio. We received an assessment appeal refund request for almost $300,000 on a pretty large property in Oakmont last a week or two ago. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Normally we budget between 100 and 150,000, so this is going to take that line item a little over. Now we do very well in our revenue side, so hopefully that makes up the difference, but there's no guarantee in that. Right now our total millage for Riverview is 24.9 mils, and with the 4% index for 25-26, the max increase is 0.996. That ends my mini budget update.
Just the only other thing to mention, talking about budget, is the mandate for the security guard, which is an unfunded mandate, which means
Yet another.
Yes. So, just for people that are, concerned about costs going up, that's a big one that's going to be going up. And the mention of the CLR last year was a big concern in why, we did vote the way we did last
Right.
year, was because of the uncertainty of that, and to have, you said it was one property.
This one property sold in 2006 for $4.7 million. It sold 3 weeks ago for $210,000.
That's why.
That's significant.
That's very significant. So, just a lot to keep in mind as we're starting the process.
There was an $8,000 proposed charter school cap in Shapiro's new budget, which would be a significant savings to the district, if indeed that would be accepted. That's probably,
been on the table for
yeah, that's probably not going to be, in its current state, but, it's a good proposal, for sure.
Brian, did you have anything to add?
Actually, yeah, I was gonna ask Sheila a question. Will we ever get the data for how many appeals were up there? Were positive for the homeowner, negative for us, obviously.
So I do get reports on a monthly, I can't even say monthly basis. I get them sporadically from Allegheny County. I think I get them more often. Yeah, no, not from MBM. I actually get them from the county, any type of appeals, but it includes every school district in Allegheny County. So I have to, and they send about 8 reports every time they send an email. So I have to go through them. I can contact the county and see if they have an easier way to just extract our information. So, and I'll ask Jen Surse at MBM Collections, MBM, and see if she has something that she can pull for us. And I'll bring that to the next meeting.
Yeah, because I'd just like to know how much we're losing, or how much is changing. I don't want to say losing, but how much is changing, and what that dollar value will be to the bottom line.
Right. Yeah, I'll extract that information and get a report out. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. We're getting ready for budget season here, so finance will be meeting more often and fast and furious and all that fun stuff, getting ready for it.
Ms. Looper, who does that report come from in Allegheny County? Does it come from the assessment office itself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Okay, education, Erin, do you have anything?
No, just go with what they presented last week.
Okay. Leanne, safety?
Yeah, we met on January 23rd. There are no workers' comp reports, which is awesome. We just talked about some repairs to one of the doors in Verner and getting a gate for their outside fence. They're still working on that. There was nothing major we talked about. Our next meeting is February 20th, and that's it.
Thank you. Student life? Tony or Roger?
Yes. I'll start with Verner. February 10th through the 14th is the Student Council Spread the Love food drive. PTO is also sponsoring the Valentine's Day celebrations this Friday, and a special persons dance on March 1st of 2025. It'll be from 6 to 8 in the junior senior high school cafeteria. For 10th Street, Dr. Z talked about this a little bit last week, but on the 29th they hosted their 3 screens Expect Good Things assembly, which emphasized positive decision making and perseverance. They had their Mad Science assembly as well, and that helped generate some excitement for their upcoming science fair. They also have the Sky Dome Planetarium, which provides students with an interactive astronomy experience. And in March, they'll have the Pittsburgh CLO presenting the next Galileo, and it's a combined assembly with Verner to aspire students to pursue STEM and the arts. They also have their wellness committee, which met in both February and January. In January, they had 21 days to a healthy habit challenge, and in February, they were hosting the Reader Bowl in honor of the Super Bowl, and each classroom visited the gym for a series of football themed wellness activities. They recently celebrated their 100th day of school last week, and the students and staff dressed as if they were 100 years old. The PTO generously provided snacks and drinks for the celebration, so much thank yous to them. And the students participated in a 100-day kindness challenge. As in previous years, staff members made 100 positive phone calls to parents throughout the day, which I know that Dr. Z has said has really gone, really well over with a lot of the parents in the district previously. And then last but not least, there's school events for 10th Street. This Friday, the 14th, Valentine's Day celebration, that will be their last classroom party of the year. The 21st, they'll host their 2nd annual Special Persons Dance. They anticipate 300 to 400 attendees for this special evening, which is amazing. And then on February 28th, they'll have their elementary science fair, which will take place at 10th Street with both students from both Verner and 10th Street in grades 3 through 6. For the junior, senior high school activities, in art, they had free little art gallery, which is almost done. They're working on stocking it with some creatively colorful pieces, and they'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony when it's ready, so stay tuned for that. The Bible Club did not have any new reports. For Culture Club, they are going to the Byam Theater to see the ballet, and it's a wonderful show with a sharp aesthetic vision that turns legends, stories, and images into an explosion of colors and movement to the melodies of Mexico. In French Club, they're going to Fleur Power tomorrow to have their Iron Chef style cooking competition for quiche, and along with the Cultures Club, they'll be selling candy grams next week, and the money that's raised will go to field trip buses. For Gaming Club, they'll have their first meeting, or they had their first meeting in January, and they have about 10 students, 9 were in attendance for the meeting, and they went really well. They seem to enjoy themselves, and they're thinking about doing some smaller groups. So the next session was at the end of January, so hopefully they'll have another one this month. For GSA, they're continuing to work on GSA dance, and even though they've fallen a little bit behind, they may use the time to plan for next year. For the gifted programs, there's the Next Challenge, which 10 students attended a problem-solving and engineering event at North Allegheny, and the students there built a variety of creative structures meeting specifications and requirements. For current events, there was a national academics game. 25 students attended that, and it was the annual Current Events Challenge hosted by the Western Pennsylvania Academic Games League. The students did very well overall, and special shout out to Oscar Smith and Rocco Brown scoring among the very top performers. Both Rocco and Oscar qualified for the National Academic Games in April in Washington, D.C., so congratulations to them. Globe Quest had 10 students that attended, which had them test a problem solving and applied knowledge of geography. The students had an enjoyable learning experience during that. For the cybersecurity explorations at Springdale, there were 10 junior high students that attended a series of workshops and expert lectures on careers and skills in cybersecurity. Those students also learned about career opportunities in academic areas in cybersecurity. NACLO had 5 students that attended the annual National Academic Computational Linguistics Challenge at CMU. Those students spent the day learning about computational linguistics and solving incredibly complex puzzles in this interesting field. As for History and Model UN, or History Club and Model UN, the History Club has its parent showcase, which is this Tuesday, actually tomorrow, February 11th, and their National History Day regional competition, which is next month, Sunday, March 16th. Model UN has their Toronto Model UN, or had previously their Model UN in Toronto this past weekend from the 7th through the 9th. And the University of Pittsburgh Asia Challenge is next week on Tuesday, February 25th. For Inclusive Leaders Club, they'll have their upcoming Inclusion Week on April 7th through the 11th. Their Polar Sprinkle Run is Thursday, April 10th. Silent Rave is Saturday, April 12th. And then the Sensory Friendly Dance is Sunday, April 13th. The Sensory Friendly Dance also, I should say, is open to the other schools as well. In terms of the junior class, they just hosted a successful Sadie's dance, and the kids were great and made a little bit of money. They have their Sarah's sales going on for, I assume, prom, and parents' night is on the 15th from 6 to 9 p.m. in the cafeteria, and registration is going well with the dodgeball soon to come. Junior high student council continues to to generate support and to support their high school programs through the cold winter months with the Spirit Week. The students enjoyed a pajama day, a wacky Wednesday, and of course a Raider Pride Day. And they worked with their homerooms to encourage student involvement and inclusiveness as well as building spirit for the junior high program. In Key Club, they have no one able to go to convention because of a conflict with schedules. However, a few students are looking at attending the PA Leadership Weekend in March, and they're finalizing those details for their Mess Fest in May. For National Honor Society, they're going to start a small fundraiser to raise funds for the induction event that occurred in November. Students should be also working on getting their 10 hours of community service in, which are due in May. PJAS students are participating in finalizing their presentations in preparation for the regional PJAS competition, which was held last weekend on Saturday at Baldwin High School. So hopefully more good news to follow next month.
They did well.
They always do, usually. In SAD, they have a mid-month meeting scheduled, as well as for the senior class. In Spanish Club, they went to Pitt for Latin American studies last month, and they did a lesson on carnival and traditions and cultures of Spanish-speaking countries. And the students have speakers who taught about South American countries and Kekua, words and a dance. I'll have to look up what that is. For student council, the members officially kicked off their Super Bowl food drive competition on Tuesday, January 28th, and they did so at the Riverview Springdale basketball game. They created posters for the event, and they had raffles and grants and things like that. Last but not least, the yearbook. Students are working on taking photographs of all of the winter activities, such as sports, concerts, senior personalities, etc. They just had their interstate in to take group/club photos, and they'll be focusing on book sales and senior quotes now. That is all.
We have, sorry, I'm a little under the weather. We have the turf for 10th Street is just about complete. Should be done in the next couple days, and then they're going to be moving to Burner probably next week. But that's pretty exciting. So we'll get some good pictures and videos of the first time that the students are out there playing.
Good. All right, policy committee?
I don't think that we have too much of a report. We just met last week, went over the 300 section. Thank you to the administration again for going through all of those. Hopefully our next meeting is in April, so hopefully by then we'll be able to cover the 200 and 300 section and kind of catch up to the admin team, possibly maybe make a meeting in July or something like that to also catch up on some of the other areas. But other than that,
Make a good progress.
For the policy committee, this isn't completely policy, but it is. We were going to have the PSBA liaison report as its own section, but it just didn't make the meeting. So if you're okay with it, I'm gonna drop it in here. If that's cool.
I apologize, I didn't know why you sent that to me, because.
No worries. We talked about it last meeting, but I should have
I
said something to Rainey, so no worries.
don't want to do the study session minutes until after this one, so I can hear you.
No worries.
So PSBA meeting minutes, we're gonna dump into policy as well.
PSBA liaison.
Liaison
report.
into,
Yeah, we'll just have its own report,
I
but
can do it underneath that one. I can do it under delegates, so correct, because.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not- Okay.
yeah, the PSBA just asked the liaisons to say their little report that they provide. It's a 2-pager, but it kind of goes along with policy anyway, so I figure I'd pop it in here today. they sent a communication on Friday, January 31st, PSBA did, to all of the member districts and solicitors regarding recent executive action. They included specific language for schools to take note of on a wide range of matters, including diversity, equity, and inclusion, immigration, federal funding, school choice, and Title IX. And they want our schools to know that they are working in conjunction with the consortium of state school board associations to take action or to give resources to school districts such as ourselves to support and ensure that members are equipped to navigate the challenging landscapes, and to help board members as well kind of uphold our own policies and what pieces of our policies are applicable, what pieces aren't, provided those legislative actions that are, or the executive actions that are coming down. Additionally, there's new guides available. So for school board members, there are resources on our member portal where we can gain knowledge in different areas such as filling up board vacancies, social media guide for Pennsylvania school board directors, an executive session 101, an advocacy guide, so for us to speak up for public schools, and a closer look at understanding the school district budget process. If you'd like more information about how to find those resources, you can reach out to myself. Additionally, the PSBA Trust announced the opening of the 2025 Student Leader Scholarships, and those are open through March 14th. So if we have students that we would like to recommend or that the administration would also like to recommend to apply for these Student Leader Scholarships, they should do so before March 14th, and they can send them to any board member as well as myself. And then last but not least, events that are happening in this month. We've already talked about it, but last week on the 7th, we had our state budget webinar with PSBA Government Affairs, provided that Governor Shapiro gave his budget address on the 4th. We also, this upcoming month, PSBA has another event on February 21st, which is a virtual event for Right to Know law compliance, and its updates and recommendations that will be for not only solicitors, but also for districts, directors, etc. And then February 25th at the PSBA headquarters, they'll have their Teach Rock Educators Workshop. And that's a really good workshop for teachers, educators, administrators, and the like, to come together to discuss recent challenges and things like that. And then a couple extra future events that they're hosting in April, which will be the virtual School Solicitor Symposium, April 11th, the Ethics Act, How to Stay Out of the Papers and Out of Trouble, and May 13th, PSBA Advocacy Day at the State Capitol. So that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Antonio, I just wanted to add, I've been to Teach Rock training. It's Steve Van Zandt does that, which is part of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. It's a really great training, and generally he has a concert after, which is a bonus that is free for anyone who goes to the training. And they have a website that has all kinds of educational resources that connects music to history, science, social studies, all different kinds of things.
That's awesome. Oh, and I also have one more thing too before I forget. Is there anyone on the board that would like to also run for the AIU board? We will have, I think, 4 or 5 seats that are opening. And next month we'll have our legislative forum on education and meet the candidates at that time. If there's anyone that would like to run for the board, they do have to be nominated by our current board.
I think you're only allowed 1 per district, as I recall. I have to go read it again.
maybe.
Yeah.
Never
We
mind.
double check, you sent it to us and.
Yeah, we.
And we
okay.
double checked it, you know,
Yeah,
to make sure
I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure
it's one person.
you're our guy. We don't get an additional one.
Then never mind. But come to the legislative forum next
Be there a
month.
couple more years.
Yes, 27.
Okay, next is communications, but Jen is not here. She has her report in there. Stephanie Forbes. Are you there, Steph?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
still here, sorry. Okay, so Riverview visited, the ninth graders visited Forbes for just a tour 2 weeks ago, it looks like. And the National Tech Honor Society will be Tuesday, March 4th. That'll be a breakfast. And the students, second and third year students, can apply for that beginning 2 weeks ago, I believe. And they'll have an open house March 13th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And they will be introducing a new program for 25-26 school year, Aspiring Educators Program. So that is going to be supporting students getting into education and pushing that career for them. So if you guys get a chance, stop at the open house and learn more about those. But that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Bridget, legislative.
Yep, thank you. At the top of my report, I just did like a reminder, any bills that were introduced from 2022 to 2024 that did not make it into law expired. So a lot of the items, or a fair amount of the items in this report, are reintroductions of bills that didn't make it during that term of the legislature. So the governor didn't sign anything, but as Ms. Lupert mentioned, there was the budget address on the 3rd. I was able to watch about half of it. I would echo the increases were not entirely surprising, that they were not as high as I think that there was some conservative numbering based upon other factors in government. So we'll see. I don't think that the judge that's overseeing the settlement of the lawsuit of the funding issue, as far as the state not meeting its constitutional obligation, I don't think that judge is going to be super happy with what's being proposed, but we'll see what happens with that. I just gave some other information regarding like details about the funding and what's being proposed. I think that it would behoove us to, when we get information about how to, basically defer the security guard requirement, that we consider that if there's not going to be an avenue of funding for that. House Education Committee, House Bill 190 is about eating disorder awareness. Again, basically important information, but an unfunded mandate at the end of the day. House Bill 201, this has been a reintroduction. This is about IUs being able to purchase their own property so they don't have to rent. House Bill 308, again, a reintroduction, including the public sector in OSHA, meaning school districts, local government, etc., being eligible for OSHA oversight. House Finance Committee, House Bill 325 is about school district tax notices, just amending like procedural requirements, nothing really substantive as far as anything we don't do. Local government, House Bill 424 is just trying to eliminate redundant legal advertising, which would be great because it would potentially mean that we don't have to advertise in the newspaper. that our advertisements on Facebook, social media, and like our website would be sufficient, which would be great. That would probably save us a little bit of money.
Yeah.
House State Government Committee, it's just asking the Legislative Budget and Finance Committee to do a cost analysis of CSRS and PSERS for a potential early retirement state level situation. I don't know what will come of that. And then again, the House Transportation Committee and a reintroduction of House Bill 240, which we talked about several times last year, kind of bounced all over the place. The hearing aid test for school bus drivers. This bill particularly seems like helpful for all districts, but I'm sure for us as well, seeing as it just kind of like eliminates some redundancies that are just really more barriers for us keeping school bus drivers. State Senate, there's nothing going on. They're in session, but there's nothing legislatively coming out yet. In regard to the federal government, I'm also watching closely developments of executive and legislative branches as it pertains to school district funding to see what's coming out. I am getting some information, just more about like immigration and our obligation to provide like student data, but nothing other than that at this point. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you, Bridget.
Yeah.
Roger, Eastern area?
So Eastern area, no immediate updates, but I would be remiss if I didn't thank you, Wendy, for everything that you've done as the Eastern area liaison. I want to thank you for all the information you've passed over to me. I can tell, how much care and thought that you've put into this, and it's really instilled that in me. So thank you very much for everything that you've shared with me. And when I have an awesome update for Eastern area, I can't wait to share it. But I went to the January meeting with our new superintendent, Neil English, and new-ish.
They want me to do it. They want me to do it another year. And I told them just one more year. That's all they're getting. Passing it on.
It's the best. It's amazing. It's important. It's awesome, and I'm just super happy to be a part of it. So thank you, Wendy, for being such like a good keeper of Eastern area, and I'm looking forward to doing this role justice for as long as you'll have me.
Thanks, Roger. All right, solicitors report?
Yes, I would just say that we've continued to work with the administration on student and personnel matters, and that's really in the rest of negotiations.
Let's do the executive session. You want to announce it, or you want?
I can announce it.
Yeah.
I thought we had announced this last meeting, but if we didn't, we held an executive session prior to the Monday, February 3rd study session to review the RESPA negotiations. We discussed potential legal claims regarding the non-resident tuition issues, and then there was also a resignation letter from a staff member. I think those were the only three.
Yes. All right. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second up, Jacobs.
I have no idea if there was a second.
Leanne. hand.